Not everything in K-dramas is what it seems. Actors who look like angels on screen have already shown dark sides off-screen, and the opposite also happens. Villains hated in fiction who, in real life, are loved and kind. Today, you will see 7 times when Korean actors behaved completely differently in front of and behind the cameras. Stay with me until the end, because the last case is the most controversial of all. At first glance, Sun Sung-won seemed to be the typical actor for positive roles, one of those who never get involved in scandals. In Uncontrollably Fond, he played the tender younger brother, and in Hospital Ship, he portrayed a caring doctor who inspired trust and empathy. For the public, it was almost impossible to separate his personal image from the kindness of his characters. But in 2018, everything changed abruptly. During a night of drinking, Sun was involved in a scandal that shocked Korea. He was accused of harassing a fellow celebrity. According to reports, when she rejected his physical advances, the actor lost control, becoming aggressive to the point of threatening her with an object. The police were called, and when they arrived at the place, they found Sun in an even more disturbing state, behaving aggressively even towards the officers. The incident quickly gained media attention, and the actor's agency was forced to apologize on his behalf. But the apologies were not enough. A formal investigation was opened, and with concrete evidence, including DNA collection, it was impossible to deny what had happened. During the trial, Sun admitted guilt and declared he was too drunk to remember the events. The result was devastating. His career, which until then seemed promising, collapsed overnight. The image of the kind doctor and the innocent young man gave way to that of a man involved in scandals and violence. For many fans, it was painful proof that the distance between the characters we love on screen and the reality behind the scenes can be greater than we imagine. Joo Huk had always been seen as the perfect leading man of the new generation. In 21, he played the role of the ideal boyfriend, mature, understanding, with a sensitivity that made viewers believe he was the real-life version of his character. The drama was an absolute success, and his career reached one of its highest points. But in 2022, a bomb exploded in his personal life. A former classmate came forward accusing Nam of bullying for 6 long years. The report described physical assaults, constant insults, money extortion, and even public humiliation. As proof, photos from school yearbooks were published, strengthening the credibility of the accusation. Soon after, other supposed classmates also appeared, sharing similar experiences. The repercussion was immediate and devastating. How could someone who seemed so polite and loving carry such a heavy past? His agency tried to control the damage, declaring that part of the situations had already been resolved in the past with apologies, but that was not enough. The public was divided. Some insisted on defending his image as a good guy, while others accused him of hypocrisy. To make matters worse, former colleagues in the industry also commented on changes in his personality after fame, claiming that he had become distant and arrogant. The shock was even greater because fans had just fallen in love with his role in 21, and seeing the perfect image crumble so quickly was almost collective trauma. This episode showed once again how the line between character and actor can be completely distorted, and how the industry can fabricate images that deep down have nothing to do with reality. Kim Tae-ri is considered one of the great actresses of the new generation, especially after playing Na Hee-do. Also in 21, her character was the embodiment of innocence and perseverance, a young woman with a pure heart, determined and inspiring. The performance was so convincing that many fans began to believe Kim Tae-ri was exactly the same off-screen, a sweet, humble, and generous young woman. But reality turned out to be very different. In 2022, her name appeared on lists of actresses with the worst personality of the year, due to what the press described as bad conduct during interviews. Reports claimed she showed impatience and even disdain during conversations with reporters. One of the most remembered criticisms was her habit of doodling on papers while journalists asked serious questions, something seen as disrespectful. In addition, she was accused of harshly criticizing a director during his international debut, a behavior that many considered arrogance. The news hit like a bomb among those who followed her career. After all, how could the same actress who seemed so sweet and vibrant in fiction show such rude and dismissive behavior in real life? The contrast was so striking that her image took a blow, especially at the peak of her popularity. Still, there are those who defend her, saying her strong personality was misinterpreted and that in work environments she tends to be more serious and reserved. In any case, the controversy showed that the charming glow of a character does not always reflect what lies behind the cameras. In Kim Tae-ri's case, the line between inspiring heroine and criticized star turned out to be thinner than the public imagined. For years, Kang Jihyun was seen as a talented and charismatic actor, capable of attracting audiences both in romantic dramas and thrillers. In front of the cameras, he looked like the typical leading man, charming, polite, and elegant, someone who transmitted confidence and respect. That impeccable image followed him throughout most of his career, but in 2019, a shocking twist completely changed public perception. That year, the actor was arrested under the accusation of having sexually assaulted two female employees of his agency, who were at his home after a meeting. The women reported that they had been drinking with the actor and fell asleep in the guest room, but were surprised during the night. The case had huge media repercussion, mainly because Kang, until then, had a reputation for being reserved and professional. The police confirmed that the actor had admitted part of the accusations, alleging that he was under the influence of alcohol. But for fans, there was no excuse to justify such a betrayal of trust. His career, which seemed solid, collapsed within days. Contracts were canceled, projects were interrupted, and his public image turned to dust. The difference between the respectable man he appeared to be on screen and the behavior revealed off-screen was so brutal that to this day his name is remembered more for the scandal than for the roles he played. It was a painful reminder that the mask of the leading man often falls when the cameras turn off. The difference between actor and character does not always happen in a negative way. The case of Lim Jihyun is a good example. In The Glory, the actress played Byong Hun, one of the most hated villains in recent K-drama history. Her performance was so convincing that many viewers believed she must have something in common with the cruel and calculating character who tormented the protagonist. But reality could not be more different. Behind the scenes, colleagues and directors revealed that Lim Jihyun was one of the funniest and kindest people on the set. Kind to the technical team, attentive to fans, and even affectionate with the actors who played her victims on screen, she showed that her real personality was light years away from the villain she portrayed. The difference was so great that even old school friends started calling to ask if she had really been a problematic student, since her performance seemed too good to be just fiction. Lim had to laugh at the situation and clarify that, unlike Byong Hun, she was an ordinary young woman, without any history of cruelty. This inversion ended up strengthening her public image, showing that, although hated on screen, off-screen she is admired and even loved by colleagues and fans. It is one of those cases where the line between fiction and reality blurs, but in the end, it reveals a positive side, that of a talented actress who can convince the public of a role, without that reflecting her true essence. Byong Hun is one of the biggest names in the Korean industry, with a career consolidated not only in prestigious K-dramas like Mr. Sunshine, but also in Hollywood productions. Known for his serious and elegant demeanor, he built the image of a sophisticated actor, almost flawless in the eyes of the public. But in 2014, his reputation took a hard hit when it was revealed that he had been the target of a blackmail case involving two models. The women were arrested for trying to extort money from the actor, threatening to release videos and private conversations that could damage his image. Although it was confirmed that he was the victim in the situation, the episode raised doubts and criticism, mainly because it exposed a side of his personal life that contrasted with the image of perfection that surrounded him. Many fans wondered what kind of behavior he maintained in private to become the target of such a scandal. The controversy did not completely destroy his career, since his talent remained unquestionable, but the impact on his image was inevitable. The contrast between the respected star on screen and the man involved in rumors and gossip behind the scenes showed that even the biggest names in the industry, those who seem untouchable, also carry vulnerabilities that the public does not see. For some, he remained an icon. For others, his aura of perfection was broken forever. For a long time, Jong Hyun, a member of CNBLU and actor in successful K-dramas, was seen as the typical polite leading man with a reserved personality that captivated fans in and outside Korea. In dramas, he often played romantic or charismatic characters, which reinforced his good boy image. He seemed to be that reliable artist, without scandals, who always kept a polite smile for the public. But in 2019, his reputation collapsed brutally. The name of Jong Hyun appeared in the scandals of the so-called Burning Sun chat, a network of private conversations between celebrities that included the exchange of sexual messages, inappropriate comments about women, and even suspicions of complicity in harassment cases. For fans, it was a deep shock. The idol who seemed shy and respectful was, in reality, participating in conversations that objectified women in a degrading way. The revelations irreversibly tarnished his career. Shortly after, he announced his departure from CNBLU, citing shame for the exposed facts. In dramas, his image was also erased, as producers and broadcasters avoided associating their projects with the scandal. The contrast was so painful that many fans said they felt as if they had been deceived for years. That artist who sold the image of a good guy was, in practice, someone involved in one of the biggest scandals in Korean entertainment. Today, the name of Jong Hyun is hardly mentioned without being tied to that episode, proving that behind the smiles and loving gazes on screen, there can be realities no one imagines.